Well, hello all you horror fans. Long time no see. I know, I've been slacking on my horror content here lately, so I figured I'd make up with this video. What do I mean by this video? I'm talking about another RRT. You don't know what RRT is, that's ranking, rating, and tiering. And yes, I know, I've done them in the past, and I feel like I need to redo some because we have some new movies coming out. So we're going to start with the Scream franchise, that's right. Now that number 6 came out, and I seen it last weekend, I figured I'd do a redo. Along with Halloween. So the next video will probably be Halloween because Halloween Ends came out. I feel like I need to kind of recap, and I actually, this past weekend after I seen Scream 6, watched every one of them. And you know, I kind of have some differences that I think I should put in. Along with Halloween, I'm going to rewatch all the Halloween before I do the video and do a redo. For those of you who don't know how RRT works is, I will go from my number 6 to my number 1, ranking them, and rating them as I go down, and also putting them in their tier list. Now let's take a look at our tier list. We have Slash Fest, which I'm pretty sure y'all know is top tier. The greatest, the best, the GOAT classic. Then we have Mid Stab, which means it's, you know, up there as well. It's mid. It's not the greatest, but it's still great, and I would stay up and watch it if it was on. Period. And I'll rewatch it. Last we all go a little mad sometimes, which means it's not the greatest. It's probably the lowest out of the bunch, and you know it's still great. Let's just put it this way: there's no bad Scream movie. I don't think there's no bad Scream movie. There's just one or two of them that are just kind of and that's about it. It's not the greatest. It's not like I would rewatch it over and over again. The best thing to put it is it's just misused. A lot of room in that movie you could have capitalized on, and you just didn't. And that's really the only takeaway from it. Everything else about it is great, though. I love all the Scream movies, so let's get started. Starting at number 6 is absolutely going to be Scream 4 for me. It is easily 5 out of 10, but it's my number 6 for a simple fact. There's so much capitalization you had there. You have great killers, don't get me wrong. Emma Roberts was a great killer. But, in all honesty, you had so much room there that you could have played with. It really could have played with people's minds, and I don't feel like it capitalized on that. Plus, some of it just felt kind of stale. Like, some of the story of it just felt kind of stale. Like, you get this new trend with all the technology, and at that time, I know, technology was taking off. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't care. I want to be scared, not put on a live podcast and getting stabbed and acting like it's a big deal, because it really wasn't. But anyway, the fact of the matter is they could have capitalized a lot more, I feel. That is the only thing taken away from this movie. Everything else was great. But there was so much capitalization. It was the first Scream movie, and I forgot, God knows how long since Scream 3 came out. It's been a long time. You have so much capitalization that you need to make in this movie. And on all honesty, I don't think they did. I think they had plenty of opportunity to capitalize on what they had, and they just didn't. That's the only reason it took away from this movie. But everything else is great. It's easily a 5 out of 10. And sadly, it is the only one that is going to go in We All Go a Little Mad Sometimes. For that simple fact, I do feel like it could go higher in the future. But for right now, I'm leaving it right there. That is the only one that I'm going to put in the lower tier. And it is all just for this little fact on, I feel like they could have capitalized a bit more. Being a new Scream movie, going into a new decade of Scream movies, you should be willing to lay it all out. And I don't feel like they did that. I feel like they just threw a little bit of millennial stuff in it. Threw a little technology in it. Put Jill as the, main attack, which is great in my opinion. And then Charlie, of course. But at the same time, everything else, though, they could have capitalized. And I don't feel like they did. They could have. They didn't. It's staying low for now. It might change later. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Let's move on. Up next, we have number 5, which is Scream 6. Absolutely loved it. And anything up from here on is easily great. Great movie. Nothing negative to really say about it. Just some little nitpicky things, and that's about it. But I love Scream 6. I'm going to go watch it again more than likely next weekend. But the fact of the matter is, there's little nitpicky things. I enjoyed Jenna Ortega. I enjoyed Kirby coming back. I enjoyed Courtney Cox as well, and I enjoyed the killers. The twist at the end really did get me. I knew that. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to do spoiler. I'm not going to do spoiler. I'm not going to do spoiler. I'm not going to do it. Let's just say one of them killers, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about if you watched it. I knew that was a killer. I knew it, and you knew it. But the other two, let's just be honest. There's 3 killers, okay? And the other 2, I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't. They got me. So just for that simple thing, it's going to be a 7 out of 10. They got me. The kills are great. Being in New York and having killers after you at the same time and kind of boggling your head just a little bit. Just like, what? It's just great in my opinion. I love it. I love the take on it. And I love how, Sam and her father have that connection. You know what I'm talking about? But at the same time, there is little nitpicky things. One of them is being, how in the hell did a little killer like that throw that big dude through that glass? If you know what I'm talking about, you know. It's questions like that arise. But anyway, it's stuff like that that's just kind of like, it took away from it. You didn't have to do all that. You could have just slit his throat. But either way, there's little nitpicky things that put it in number 5. But everything else is great about it. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'm going to go watch it again. If you know, you know. Core 4, forever. That was great. Love it. And it's going to go right up there with Mid-Stab. Because in all honesty, I don't want to say it's mid. It's just not the greatest, the GOAT ever. But it is absolutely great and enjoyable, and I will enjoy it when it comes out on Vudu. I will be the first to buy it and add it to my collection of horror movies, and we'll rewatch it and rewatch it again. It is enjoyable. Let's move on. Brings me to number 4. Yes, I put number 5 above number 6 for one simple reason. Everything else was great about this movie. The only part that puts it above is 2 things. One, if y'all haven't seen this movie, I'm about to spoil it for you. You better watch it, because if you haven't seen it, oh well, cry. He finally gets to do in Dewey. He finally gets it. And I was waiting and waiting for this dude to die since Scream 2. I said it. I don't care. He should have died. He should have died, bro. All right, I love you, Dewey. But I'm sorry, David Arquette. You should have got to do, all right? Literally, in Scream 2 after that, I was like, okay, he has to get it. Next Scream, if they make one, he has to get it. And guess what? He kept living and kept living and kept living. Well, guess what, Dewey? You got dude. Anyway, that's one. I know it's mean. But anyway, number 2 is the kills. Almost every kill in that freaking movie I enjoyed. Most of them were different and just enjoyable and literally get you every single time. Like when I watch it, I'm just like, okay, I was not expecting that. I'm glad they gave us something new and fresh, and that's why I enjoy this movie. And also, it's the introduction to Sam and, Jenna Ortega in this movie. And, it's just very enjoyable. All these new characters we get. And it kind of ties everything nicely. I think this is what Scream 4 should have done. If you know what I'm saying. This should have been Scream 4. Love Scream 4, but this should have been Scream 4. If that makes sense. And for that simple reason, it's in my number 4 and it's 8 out of 10. And it's just going to wiggle itself right in on there in the mid-stab. And once again, it's not mid. Just because I say mid-stab does not mean it's mid. It just means it's, it's great. It's not the GOAT. It is great though, and I enjoy it. So don't jump. But let's move along. Up next is my number 3, which is Scream 2. Yes, I know. Some of you probably saying, well, some other movies could have went above this, or it should be lower, or whatever. The reason I put it as number 3 and an 8.5 out of 10 for me is because I really enjoy, from beginning to end, the way the movie was written out. The way it was written to be, the sequel's supposed to be better than the original. Stuff like that through the whole movie, it made it key in my opinion. Like, it gave it like this amp it needed, like, we have to do something to make it better. And it seems like they tried so hard that it's overhated. Like, people look past it and look past the greatness that was in this movie. I mean, you had Jerry O'Connor, all the other cast coming back, adding on Mickey, which was one of the great. I think he's the most underrated killer in my opinion. Like, this dude was batshit crazy. He went from being your happy, joyful friend to literally just, in my opinion, he reminded me of like a Heath Ledger. Like, I'm not comparing Heath Ledger, but that's the vibe I got. Like, he just went full blown batshit crazy towards the end. And I love that. Like, he just has that giddy look to him, like, I really hated you. It's like, whoa, hold on a minute, buddy. I thought we were friends. But anyway, just great. And then to turn around and him find out, he was being used the whole time, just blew my mind. Like, I enjoyed every single time. In the beginning, where Jada Pinkett Smith gets to do, and, her boyfriend gets to do too. I mean, just right off of the bat in a movie theater. Come on, bro. You got murdered in a movie theater watching the movie that was about the killer? Come on. Just everything about it. It just picked up momentum as it went, and I feel. And it's just really overhated. A lot of people hate this movie. Literally. A lot of people hate this movie. But it's overhated. Like, I don't... Look past the hatred and watch it again, and I'm pretty sure you'll find what I'm saying to be true. It's really just great. I have fun every time I watch this movie. Really can't say nothing negative about it. Love it. 8.5 out of 10. I'll put that sucker right on in there with the mid-stab. Once again, it is not the GOAT, in my opinion, or the best ever. But it is absolutely great, and I will enjoy rewatching this on loop with the Scream movies any time of the day. Let's move along. But at this point on, we're going to contest the two GOATs. They're going in slash best, period, and you already know what they are looking at the tier list. But I think it's the ranking and the rating that y'all are going to want to kill me. Y'all are going to want to kill me, but it's okay. Let's move. Number 2 is going to be Scream 1. I know. I hear you yelling. Just hear me out. Okay, the original is supposed to be the best, and I understand that. But the fact of the matter is there's just literally both of these last movies, in my opinion, are like this. And it was so hard to come to a conclusion on which one's slightly better than the other, if you know what I'm saying. Rewatching them, though, I have my conclusion. I'm sorry. Scream 1 is number 2 by the slightest of hair, by a penny in between the cracks. All right, literally there. But there's one thing that absolutely puts the next one above, and for that simple fact, I have to. But this one right here is absolutely a GOAT, the greatest ever, the best thing that happens in sliced bread. It literally starts the whole franchise, and it did it beautifully. Wes Craven literally thought this out, and he knew what he was doing. To introduce all these characters, you got David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Drew Barrymore, Neve Campbell, Skeech Ulrich, or Stu, what's his name, Matthew Lillard. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, bruh, seriously, one of the best things that could have ever happened to a franchise and starting it off, it happened in this movie. There's no other element I would have changed about this movie, in all honesty. The way it went is the way it should have went, and it is the GOAT. It is a 9 out of 10 for me. It is my number 2. I'm going to happily put it in Slash Fest, right where it belongs, as a GOAT. But let's move on to this next one, because I already hear y'all trying to literally rip my ears off. So as you know, Scream 3 is going to be my number 1, 9 out of 10 as well. Simple fact on one reason. Everything else was great about this movie. I love the follow-up to the sequel and to the original. Everything ties in from starting off to the beginning with Cotton freaking Weary. Literally his girlfriend getting stalked in their house. And Cotton coming home and getting the first kill, bruh. He's the first kill. The first freaking kill. It sets it off. It sets the bar up. Not only that, now they're in Hollywood making a movie about stab, and people are getting stabbed. It's literally the greatest thing that could happen. And not only that, you get Roman, who's a single killer, might I add. And on top of that, the twist, I'm not going to spoil it, go watch it, but the twist on top of that, and it just makes everything that more just, oh, damn. It just gives it a whole tone, okay? But the thing that really puts it over the top for me is literally the way they follow up these killers and the way they continue the storyline and follow it up with Sydney literally being the main person and getting literally just enough. Like, she is the tough girl in this situation now. The first and second ain't got nothing on this one. She's ready. Like, she's ready to just end this shit. Like, even if it means her getting killed, she don't even care. It's like that Jamie Lee Curtis, momentum in Halloween. Just, I don't care. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm going to fight you. And if I die, I die. If I die, I die. I don't care. Like, it's literally that momentum that set this movie up on top of everything else and just following it up nicely. There's only one thing that I can't say negative, but that's really it, is that it's annoying characters that, are playing the characters. Like, the character playing the character, the woman who's playing Gail, they were just annoying in my opinion. But in all honesty, I feel like they were supposed to be. That's why they were there, is to be annoying. But anyway, on top of that, everything else is great. And I feel like it is literally the greatest thing that could have happened in a trilogy at that time that could follow things up and end them nicely. It did its job. It is the GOAT. And it's one of my favorite ones I can rewatch over and over again and never get tired of. For that simple fact, it's going right there in the GOAT status. I'm sorry. Y'all can scream at me if you want to. Just got to give my realistic opinion. And that's that. Now, the follow-up conclusion of all this, which I'll start doing in videos, is to just kind of wrap things up and give final thoughts, and also want to hear from you guys. So after this video, I would like to hear your comments, your tier list. Even stitch me and tag me in them. I would love for y'all to do that. I want to hear back from you. But to tie things up, I'm going to stick with Scream 4 being there. It just needs to stay there. I'm sorry. It might move up, but it belongs down there for me. Period. Scream 5 and 6, along with 2 in the mid. 2's going to always stay there more than likely because it's not the GOAT, but it's almost the GOAT, if that makes sense. It is almost there, but it's not there yet. But Scream 6 and Scream 5, I feel like there was a little work that could have been done. And one of them being, for Scream 5, for sure, is, well, Scream 6, it did its job at the same time, but there was a lot of push room they could have had there, if that makes sense. I'm not going to spoil it. Y'all haven't seen it, but it did its job. Scream 5, I will say this. The amount of times I was in that movie and people were screaming for Stu to come back and he didn't, y'all could have did better. You could have did better. You could have did better, but that's about it. Like I said, everything else about these movies are great. I love them, but y'all should have brought Stu back, bro. Stu the GOAT. You had every opportunity to say it didn't kill him, and y'all didn't. But anyway, everything else, I think I'm going to stick with everything else being in the mid. Love it where it's at. And of course, we're going to go up to the 2 GOATs right here. They belong right where they do, in my opinion. And I know y'all are going to rip my ears off for this saying Scream 3's up there. But please just trust me. Don't go in there with hatred. It's overhated. Okay, there's a lot of people who hate this movie more than Scream 2. Like, they hate this movie. Trust what I'm saying. Go in with the open mind. Rewatch it. Give it a watch. See what I'm talking about. And understand the concept they were trying to make with the trilogy was literally to tie things up in a new way at the same going original and going back to the original and why the original happened. And then you will understand why all that other stuff had to happen. And it just makes for a great trilogy. Or trilogy movie, in my opinion. And I really enjoy it. But anyway, other than that, I think everything else deserves what it got. And literally it's going to stay right where it is. And it might change later. It might not. We all change our minds when we rewatch stuff. The older we get. But I'm happy with this tier list. I want to hear your tier list. Get back with me. Stitch me. Comment. Duet. Whatever. Let me know yours.